.40 S&W. Designed on January 17, 1990, by a Smith & Wesson Winchester team under Robert M. Klunk, Jr. .40 S&W emerged from the FBI's post-1986 search for 10mm auto-terminal performance in a 9mm sized package. The case is a shortened 10mm, retaining the same head and bore, engineered to fit medium-frame pistols, while delivering the FBI's reduced velocity 10mm spec. It debuted in the S&W Model 4006. Glock leveraged its 10mm work and announced the G22 G23 a week earlier, reaching duty holsters quickly. The 94 magazine cap also nudged buyers toward larger bores at the same 10-round limit, accelerating adoption. Also known as .40 Auto 10 by 22mm and informally 10mm Kurds, it uses a rimless straight case that headspaces on the mouth, a small pistol primer, and SAMI max pressure of 35,000 psi. Bullet diameter is 4.0 inch, case length 850 inch, overall length 1.135 inch. Typical loads run 135 to 200 grains, with common defensive offerings at 155-80 grains from 4-inch barrels. It suits locked breech pistols and standard double-stack magazines of roughly 12 to 16 rounds depending on frame size. Early .40 caliber Glock chambers had generous feed support that with hot or out-of-spec reloads occasionally produced dramatic case failures. Modern chambers and ammunition largely made this a historical footnote. Law enforcement agencies adopted it widely through the 2000s. Many later returned to 9mm sighting advances in bullet design, recoil management, and pistol longevity. Commercial ammunition remains broadly available and supported by major handgun makers. .380 Special. Smith & Wesson introduced .38 Special in 1898 as a stronger, longer case derived from .38 Long Colt. Addressing that cartridge's poor field performance and accommodating early smokeless powder while remaining compatible with existing revolver architecture. It became the standard American police round from the interwar years through the late 20th century and saw military service in both world wars and even in Vietnam, despite the prevalence of the .45 ACP and 9mm. Known variously as .38 S&W Special, .38 SPL, and 9x29R, it actually uses a 357-inch bullet due to legacy naming from heeled bullet .38s. The rimmed straight case is 1.155 inch long, with an overall length around 1.55 inch. SAMI limits standard pressure to 17,500 psi with a Plutz P envelope above that. It uses a small pistol primer. Revolvers chambered in .357 Magnum will accept .38 Special, but not vice versa. Typical standard pressure loads include 130 grain FMJ near 800 feet per second and 158 grain lead around the mid-700s from vented 4-inch barrels. The famous 158 grain lead SWC hollow point plus P, often associated with the FBI in the 1970s, built a strong reputation in service revolvers. An earlier high-velocity path, the Mag 3844 high-speed load, used heavy frames as a stepping stone to the .357 Magnum. Tracer ball and specialized military loads appeared across decades of issue. In current use, it remains a mainstay for snub-nose carry target work and training supported by a broad ecosystem of wad cutters, standard pressure, and plus P defensive ammunition. .44 Magnum. Conceived in 1963 to 1964 through a collaboration between Elmer Keith and Bill Jordan, with input from firearms enthusiasts like Skeeter Skelton, the .41 Remington Magnum was intended to offer police a more effective round than .38 Special without the weight and recoil of .44 Magnum alongside a heavier hunting load. The concept encompassed two loadings, a mild police load near 900 feet per second with a 200 grain bullet and a full-power hunting load around 400 feet per second with a 210 grain jacketed bullet. Production ammunition, however, arrived hotter than intended, and the service revolver built for it, the S&W Model 58, proved heavy compared with common duty revolvers of the era. The cartridge uses a 4 10-inch bullet in a 1.29-inch rimmed case overall length, about 1.59 inch. SAMI maximum pressure is similar to .44 Magnum's range, and the typical rifling twist is near 1 turn in 18.5 inch. In practice, the perceived recoil and muzzle blast combined with revolver weight limited law enforcement adoption, but hunters noted a flatter trajectory and strong penetration on medium game. Production revolvers included S&W models 57 and 58, and Ruger Blackhawks with later chamberings appearing in carbines, such as the 1894, and again, Henry's Big Boy Steel. The 41 developed a dedicated following among handgun hunters and revolver enthusiasts who preferred its balance, and ammunition remains commercially available from major and specialty makers. 7.62 by 30 Creedmoor. Hornady's Dave Emery and Creedmoor Sports' Dennis DeMille sketched the 6.5 Creedmoor in 2007, bringing it to market in 2008 as a purpose-built competition cartridge that fits short-action magazines while seating long, high BC bullets without intruding deep into powder space. The parent is 30 Thompson center, necked to 6.5 mm, with geometry optimized for modern bullets and a standard 1-in-8 twist to stabilize 130 to 147 grain projectiles. The practical outcome is efficient external ballistics, with moderate recoil particularly attractive to precision rifle competitors and field shooters. The case is a rimless bottleneck with a length of 1.920 inch and overall length near 2.825 inch. SAMI map set at 62,000 psi. Barrels of 22-24 inch are common in hunting and service rifles. Competition rigs often run longer. Factory loads include 120 to 147 grain bullets. Real-world velocities for 140 class match bullets cluster around the mid-2600s to high 2600s in 24-inch barrels, remaining supersonic to extended distances with less wind drift than traditional 30-caliber service loads. The 6.5 Creedmoor was evaluated favorably by U.S. Special Operations in the late 2010s, leading to its adoption in rifles like the Mark 20 SSR, though its role is more limited than a broad program cartridge, as 7.62 NATO remains dominant in many military applications. A British DMR program adopted 6.5 Creedmoor as well. Handloaders have both large and small rifle primer brass options. Data is not interchangeable between them. Today, it is a common chambering in bolt guns and AR-10 pattern rifles for competition hunting and designated marksman roles with extensive factory ammunition support. 7mm CP. John Moses Browning designed the .380 automatic in 1908 for Colt's compact locked breech pocket pistols, and manufacturers quickly embraced simple blowback pistols for the same cartridge due to its modest pressure. Before the Second World War, it replaced .32 ACP in many European services for officers and police, where size and controllability mattered more than range. It persisted in police holsters well into the post-war era, before 9x19 became the norm. Also labeled 9x17mm, 9mm, Browning Short, Kurzkorto Court, and similar translations, it is a rimless, straight-walled cartridge that headspaces on the case mouth. SAMI maximum pressure is about 21,500 psi. The bullet is 355 inch, despite the .380 name. Case length is 680 inch, and typical overall length is just under an inch, enabling very small pistols. In blowback pistols, the fixed barrel can aid practical accuracy. In modern locked breech pocket guns, the same ballistics arrive with lower slide mass. Normal bullet weights run 85 to 100 grains. Factory figures place a 90-95 grain bullet around 950 to 150 feet per second from barrels near 3.5, 3.8 inch with energy near the 200 foot-pounds mark, depending on load. Pistols like the CZ-83 and compact SMGs such as the MAC-11 also appeared in this caliber, leveraging low recoil for controllable automatic fire in close quarters. Today, it remains common in ultra-compact carry pistols with modern expanding loads tuned for short barrels, improving consistency within the cartridge's inherent limits. 38 Special Winchester Magnum. Winchester launched the .300 Winchester Magnum in 1963 as a .30 caliber Magnum that fits standard length actions. The design pushes the shoulder forward on a shortened .375 H&H based case, trading a short neck for generous powder capacity. Although the 7mm Remington Magnum garnered early attention, the 300 Win Mag steadily became the most popular .30 caliber Magnum among hunters and also established itself in long-range competition and military precision roles. The cartridge is a belted bottleneck with a 2.6 2-inch case overall length, around 3.34 inch, and a 1 in 10 twist standard. SAMI maximum average pressure is 64,000 psi. Bullet weights from 150 to 220 grains are common. A 180 grain load around 30 feet per second from a 24-inch barrel is often considered the baseline. Heavier match bullets at 110 to 20 grains deliver high ballistic coefficients for extended range precision, though very long or mono-metal designs may require deeper seating that slightly trims usable powder space. It offers roughly a few hundred feet per second over 30-06, with a corresponding increase in recoil, prompting many manufacturers to equip rifles with effective pads or brakes. The .300 Winchester Magnum gained military credibility with loads like the Mark II 48 MOD 0-1 using 220-grain Sierra Match King bullets, though its long-range performance was already well regarded in civilian use. In the sporting world, it is associated with elk moose and mountain hunting, where retained energy and trajectory at distance matter. Despite newer .30 caliber Magnums, its combination of performance availability and rifle compatibility keeps it firmly established across disciplines. Elmer Keith's high-pressure .44 special experiments in the 1940s and 1950s laid the groundwork for a commercial Magnum cartridge. Remington standardized the load, and Smith & Wesson built the first production revolvers, releasing the .44 Magnum in 1956. The case was lengthened from .44 Special chiefly to prevent inadvertent chambering in older, weaker firearms. Manufacturers quickly realized its utility in carbines and lever guns, enabling one-cartridge rifle and revolver pairings reminiscent of frontier practice. Also known as .44 Remington Magnum, it uses a 4.29-inch bullet, despite the nominal .44 designation. The rimmed straight case measures 1.285 inch, with overall length around 1.61 inch. SAMI maximum averages in the mid-30,000 psi range. Revolvers with tight tolerances and proper forcing cones handle a wide spectrum of bullet weights from 180 to 340 grains, with popular mid-range hunting loads at 240 to 300 grains. Carbines often deliver a notable velocity increase thanks to barrel length and the absence of a cylinder gap. It is unsuited to conventional police service due to recoil and blast, though it excelled in hunting and backcountry roles. A generation of shooters first encountered the .44 Magnum, particularly the S&W Model 29, culturally through cinema. It saw a huge increase in demand due to its prominence in films like Dirty Harry, significantly boosting its popularity. Today, it remains widely manufactured, including in semi-automatic platforms such as the Desert Eagle, and continues to serve for medium to large game and bear defense, where deep penetration is required. 327 9mm. The 7.62 by 39 mm was designed in 1943 by a Soviet team led by N.M. Elizarov, with contributions from designers like B.V. Semin. The original intermediate cartridge began with a 41 mm case and a flat base bullet. Subsequent improvements in ogive and the addition of a boat tail for better exterior ballistics required shortening the case to 38.7 mm to maintain overall length, yielding the final 7.62 by 39 specification. It anchored a family of infantry weapons, the SKS carbine AK pattern rifles, and the RPD, and later RPK light machine guns entering service by the end of the Second World War and proliferating worldwide thereafter. The cartridge is a rimless bottleneck with a tapered case that aids extraction and shapes the curved AK magazine. SAMI pressures sit around 45,000 psi. CIP permits higher proof levels, and barrels commonly use a twist near 9.45 inch. The 7.62 by 39 mm uses 310 to 311 inch bullets in both CIP and COMBLOC standards. Western rifles are generally designed for these diameters, not 308 inches, which is a common misconception. Ballistics with a 123-grain bullet typically run in the mid-2300s FPS from 16 20-inch barrels. Service ball evolved from the M43 steel-cored PS to variations such as Yugoslavia's M67 with a flat base that yaws earlier in tissue, to specialized tracers, subsonic loads for suppressed use, and modern armor-piercing designs. In civilian contexts, it migrated into sporting semi-autos and bolt guns. In the U.S., it occupies a role akin to .30-30 for deer-size game at modest ranges. Ammunition and rifles remain abundant worldwide with continuing military police and militia use alongside extensive commercial availability. 6.5 Remington Magnum. Remington introduced the 7mm Remington Magnum in 1962 alongside the Model 700 drawing from the belted H&H family. The goal was practical long-range big-game capability with less recoil than the largest .30 caliber Magnums and better wind behavior than .30 caliber bullets of similar weight. It quickly eclipsed the .264 Winchester Magnum in popularity and settled into the role of a general-purpose Western hunting cartridge. The case is a belted bottleneck with a 2.50-inch length and overall length around 3.29 inch, typically using 1 in 9 twist 1 in 10 twists to handle 140 to 175 grain bullets. SAMI maximum averages around 61,000 psi. Factory loads commonly advertise 140 grain bullets near 100 feet per second and 160 grain bullets around 30 feet per second from 24-inch barrels, with longer barrels favored by many to realize full velocity potential. At high impact speeds on close shots, robust bullet construction matters to manage fragmentation on large game. It found limited precision and law enforcement roles, occasionally appearing in counter-sniper applications where flatter trajectory at urban distances was useful. The U.S. Secret Service, for instance, historically used custom-built 7mm Rem Mag rifles for counter-sniper roles, leveraging its accuracy and ballistics for precise engagements according to Sierra bullets. Hunters across North America and abroad continue to use it for elk-class game and beyond. Ammunition is widely offered in weights from roughly 140 to 75 grains, and rifle makers regularly chamber it in both factory and custom builds. Its balance of trajectory energy and manageable recoil remains the source of its enduring presence. 300 Federal Magnum. Federal and Ruger developed the .327 Federal Magnum with its official introduction in 2008, based on the .32 H&R Magnum, lengthening and strengthening the case to operate at 45,000 psi, a pressure more typical of modern semi-auto cartridges than traditional revolver rounds. The design brief was straightforward: place 6 rounds in small frame revolvers that would otherwise be 5-shot .357s, while delivering energy and velocity in the same general performance tier with more agreeable recoil for many shooters. The cartridge is a rimmed straight case measuring 1.20 inch with overall length around 1.47 inch, using a 312-inch bullet and a small pistol Magnum primer. In short barrels near 3 inches, 100 grain loads around 400 feet per second and 115 grain loads near 300 feet per second are common figures. Longer revolver barrels push those numbers significantly. In lever-action rifles chambered for flat shooting trajectories and small game utility broaden the appeal. Ruger offered SP-101, GP-100, and Blackhawk variants, later adding the Single 7 and LCR. Henry introduced their Big Boy steel in .327. Federal and Taurus entered with a compact revolver. Compared to .357 Magnum, the .327 produces less punishing muzzle blast and recoil in the same envelope while allowing for an extra chamber in similar-sized frames. Commercial availability has stabilized into a dedicated niche, supported by both defensive and field loads, and it remains in production across several platforms. 41 Mag. That wraps up the video. If you found it useful, give it a like, share it with others interested in small arms history, and subscribe to catch future uploads. Have a subject you'd like to see covered? Leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching.